Turn my microphone on there. All right, our first order of business is that better? Okay. Our first order of business is the approval of the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 Motion passed unanimously. The approval of the order of agenda.
Move. Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. The approval of the consent agenda, which includes bills, employee status changes, and overtime.
Moved.
All right, we have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously. We are at citizen comments, and we have one here from a Mr. Sean Bouclair. Yes. Good afternoon.
There's one requesting the meeting, so I do understand it has to be done after citizen time. The reason why I'm just all
Two.
thank you. The reason why I'm here today is to discuss what all Memorial Village was developed. Oh, okay. So, that's the reason why I'm here today. To request a meeting with the Department of Government Efficiency in North Dakota and Chair Tomac as it relates to the development of Memorial Village. And then there's a couple other agenda items on there about the use of pilots, as well as I think we'll actually have a pilot that Mr. Bierkin may approve of. So Craig Spicer was planning to be here with me, but unfortunately he had the flu and he also had to work. So just to be clear there. So primarily with Memorial Village, if you see the second handout here, we can walk through that. Has to do with, I have it identified how it was developed, and I call it the living legacy under UND. Traditionally, when you develop student housing in North Dakota, it's a combination of donations and name on the building, right? I've never seen a housing project in any of the state 11 universities developed without that. So what I did was total capital cost, 84 million equivalent. And equity is 25.2. And where this numbers come from is the Baker Tilly reports. I did request for pro forma financials, so I could put together proper financials. I was denied, right? So the other part is if you can do 20 million by using traditional municipal bond finance, you can run a higher debt rate. So I have a 10 and 10, $10 million would be donation, 10 million for name rates of the building. So debt, again, 6.5% is my best estimate of commercial debt at the time. 4% would be municipal bond rate. So annual interest charge, 3.82, 2.57. So if they use municipal bonds, right, it'd be 1.25 more million of cash flow. If little head nod, we're with, that makes sense so far? We're good? So annual cash flow, again, per Baker Tilly at 6.6% cash on cash. So I did 6% of the 25.2. That's where the 1.5 million came from. In contrast, that is the UND lease is roughly 260,000. So if they did it the traditional way, right, it would be $3 million of cash flow, right? $3 million of cash flow. So in order to get there, right, cash on cash returns 6%, but 15% return on your initial investment, right? You get 3 million cash flow over 20 million investment, right? That's 15% cash on cash return. Return on investment, again, it's not correct. It's my best estimate. Why? I can't get proper financials. I am very solid though on the living legacy, 15%. UND portfolio, this comes from, I don't know if we have UND grads here, your annual report, a little less than 8%. So as you might imagine, they could have invested their own money in themselves and got a 15% return. I'm very confident, I could raise the $10 million for the naming of the building, right? It's such a wonderful project, wonderful project. So part of it is, I think, like Memorial Village, you'll see towards the bottom there, I talk about scholarships, 3 million scholarships, and let's just say you divide it half between Memorial Village and half between the new building named. I call it for protectors and guardians. And what I mean for our sheriff there, anybody who in the community that wears a badge, takes a gun to the community, whether it's federal, state, or local, I'd like their kids to be able to be eligible for a scholarship across the state if you attend UND. No cost to taxpayer, Mr. Bierke, you like that? Right. Right, I've been very fortunate, right? I attended NDSU, received some scholarships there, so do my children. Right, this is such a tremendous project to benefit from. Is there any, I'm open to questions. I realize this is kind of a lot of information, somewhat drinking from a fire hose at once.
Well, I'll be happy with anybody, well, at a reasonable time, but I don't, as far as I know, this was done a long time ago and the county approved it long before I got here, right, Mr. Ford? I don't know how long ago it was. And so I don't think the county, I guess the county can give their opinion to the city, but we can't we can't change anything.
This is not a city matter. I'm requesting a meeting with the North Dakota Legislative Task Force of Government Efficiency, Chairman Nathan Tolman, and one or more of his committee members, because it's a statewide issue, government efficiency. And I can provide a little bit more detail on the transfer of the 8.3 acres Memorial Village sits on. Right, I was like, this seemed odd. It was transferred to UND Alumni Foundation. When I called and asked for the board meeting minutes, initially it wasn't fully transparent. And I have all the emails. Dug a little bit deeper. Do you know what the price was transferred to the Alumni Foundation for? $1. Right? It's a state asset. Shortly thereafter, the chancellor at the time, right, retired early, left 8 months early, $400,000 a year job. Was supposed to come to UND for 2 more years.
But once again, I'm willing to meet with you. I'm just saying though that
I'm not
as a county,
I'm,
we're Sergeant Schulter. We can do nothing.
yeah.
This is going to be between the state and the city. I'm happy to meet with you to go through this stuff. And I give my personal opinion. The county could maybe give their county's opinion, you know, as a whole, but the state is going to have to lead this, or the city's going to have to lead this, because we just, at whatever time it happened, signed on we don't control pilots in the city limits.
If you could bear with me for 1 minute, just to give you an idea how this impacts you. Rough numbers of the 1,000 graduates that attend UND from North Dakota each year, 150 to 200 come from Grand Forks County. A $3,000 scholarship is $450,000 to $600,000. And I realize this is a state issue. That's why I'm asking to bring it to the attention of the North Dakota Department of Government Efficiency, Nathan Tolman. That's my request for the meeting. Not
Right. And I think that would be fine. I think we can get with Mr. Ford and get our schedules going. I just want to make sure we stick to the comments, the comment period, and we're getting over on time here. So I think Mr. Ford would be able to reach out to you. Does he have your information?
Yeah.
You can get it right there, and then we'll,
And I'll wrap up the other 2 points and move on.
real quick, thank you.
Thank you. So a little bit regarding Grand Forks pilots, just so you know, I did request, which I thought was the city attorney's opinion on that. What I thought was like when the North Dakota AG gives opinion, right? Very detailed oriented. I was expecting somewhat similar. What I got back was a PowerPoint that supported his, right, personal pocketbook and how things are conducted. So, right, moving on from there, finally, North Dakota State Mill and Elevator. South Camp Grafton, I grew up near Eddy County, North Dakota, grew up in Eddy County, North Dakota, next to South Camp Grafton. Roughly the state of North Dakota owns just shy of 10,000 acres. They make a payment to the county, right? $35,000 to $40,000 a year. If the state mill and elevator, right, was a private business, and keep in mind, it should stay this North Dakota State Mill and Elevator, it should be making payments to the community. So you're foregoing that. If you look at the history of pilots, payment in lieu of taxes, that's how it originated, is when you're providing services to an entity, they make up for it, just like in Eddy County. So that's another thing I'd like to connect to help you with your revenue. So with that, I thank you kindly, and I look forward to our meeting.
Madam Chair, do you mind?
Go ahead, Mark. Yep.
I'm not crystal clear on what the request is.
Mr. Beauclair is requesting a meeting, it looks like with myself, Mr. Bierke, and our administrator, Mr. Ford. I apologize, you do not have the handouts there in front of us right now, so that was what he was requesting afterwards.
Oh, okay. So
And
you
just to
want the meeting.
clarify with Mr. Tomac, right?
Correct, yes, but just from the commission side. Thank you.
And just help also on the point 3 is, sure Ms. Wamsik could review it, but the state mill's on state land. So I don't think we have, just like UND's on state land, I don't think we have any say on that, but we can definitely, as part of that meeting, you can have that ready at that time and we can go over that, but I think they're gonna laugh at us, but other than that, I don't think there's much we can do. We can look into it though, so if you could, and then let Mr. Ford know, I'd appreciate that, Ms. Wamstead. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Absolutely, thank you. All right, we're going to move on to the Board of Equalization.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Today I have before you the preliminary comparison of the 2025 and 2026 taxable valuations and increases or decreases, and the new growth taxable valuations by jurisdiction. Did you guys have any questions on that?
Shockingly, yes, I do. Since you asked, if you want to bring up to the screen, I guess Miss Leon, oh, we're moving up in the world. Page number 59. On the bottom of page 59, you see total taxable values, and you see that number at bottom right, 15,712,677. And then if you go to the bottom of page 61, thank you. Right there, you see that's a combo of the residential, commercial, new growth taxable value, and that's combined 30,720,000 or 10,000 or so. What is the difference between the bottom of 59's number and those two numbers added together? What's the difference there? Why is that?
The one table, the one that's on the screen right now, is just for the new growth. The other one is the changes in taxable valuation for all reasons, which would include revaluation, which we don't include in your new growth.
Okay, so, and this is why I'm confused, and maybe I'm not the brightest bulb or the sharpest knife. How can the new growth be more than new growth and the valuation increases combined?
Your new growth taxable value is just the pluses. It does not include the minuses, which
Okay.
the other spreadsheet does include the decreases.
Yeah, the decrease was on the ag land.
We had that decrease, and then it would also include if anything was demolished.
Okay, all right. So for the sake of when it comes to budgeting time, which number?
You get this spreadsheet plus my supplementals, which will show the decreases and increases for each township and city separately, and those all go to Colleen.
Okay, and so the accurate number would be then the 15,712,677? And just out of curiosity, in page 58, our villa under commercial lots and structures, township went from 75,000 to 705,000. Well, what happened Did I miss something? Did I drive through Arvilla? Did I-
That was a split. So then the value goes back to 0 in our program for the previous year. And that was it's along the railroad there, the elevator, I believe.
Okay, yeah,
Or Arvilla. So yeah, in our program, it goes back to 0. So it's kind of misleading with that increase, but it doesn't use it for our new growth number.
okay. All right, and so then, I might as well get all my questions at once, and then, the other thing I had is, so Mr. Ford, part of this maybe go with, you and Ms. Walsh and, Ms. Morstead, when you do the, but here, so if you want to maybe jot these down, I appreciate that. What I'm trying to find out, when we get to, I know you do some of it, is when it's time, first meeting, I believe is 6:30, June 3rd. What's the new value of the mill going to be? What is the increase from this mill from last year's mill, whatever that number is? Then, that percentage increase, then of the percentage, let's just, I think the current mill is like 414. Let's just say it's 400,000 for math, and it goes up to 420, which would be a 5% increase. So if the total valuations increased 5%, now I want to know what of that is new growth. So let's, for math purposes, say it's 1%. So now we're down to 4% valuation increase. Then that means if we wanted to not do a tax increase, we'd have to cut the mills by 4%. Is my math correct? 5% total, 1% new growth. We could keep all that because that's not adding to anyone. And then that would leave 4%. So if we want to do a no tax increase budget, then we would have to cut 4% of our total of mills we collect. Okay. Okay, so I need all that. I like to have that at the beginning, so it's clear. Now, my other question, it's somewhat related, kind of. The Beacon, the money is supposed to be turned over to the taxing entities. How much are we going to get, and does that affect our cap in 2026 or next year, or is that just, here's the money we owe you, and it's okay? Well, and if you don't have the answers for that, that'd be good on 632, because I thought we were around 200 and something thousand of that ballpark.
Yes, sir.
So out of that, is that going to count again? Because that would be new growth. Are we just, but it's also somewhat in arrears because it's for taxes paid in the past. So we just are we going to get the money because they owe it to us? Or is that going to be a cap, but it really shouldn't be because it's back taxes?
Yes.
But I don't know.
Commissioner Bierke, that's a great question. Ms. Morstead did meet with the city's finance and tax director yesterday to decide, answer a lot of these questions. So Ms. Morstead's obviously running the primary or the early voting today, but I'll bring that up with her and we'll get you an answer.
Okay, and the first meeting, if we could have kind of like a beginning, at the beginning of the meeting, kind of go through some of this, so we start with that knowledge.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
That.
all right, that's all I have. Thank you.
And then also submitted in that packet was the copy of agricultural value per acre for the 2026 assessments from the state tax department. Again, there was that 1% decrease in agricultural land this year. We are at 90% of the average set by NDSU. Do you have any questions on that? Okay. Oh, as provided by North Dakota Century Code 57-1201, the first order of business is the equalization of assessments in the cities. Are there any individuals or members of city boards of equalization present that are protesting their value for 2026? Anyone from the city of Grand Forks or any cities in the county of Grand Forks? All right, hearing none. In the event that there are no appeals from property owners, it is recommended that the 2026 assessments of all the cities and classes of property be approved and returned by the city boards of equalization.
I'll move approval, ma'am.
Second.
You beat me to it. All right, we have a first and a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously.
The second order of business is the equalization of assessments in townships. Are there any individuals or members of township boards of equalization present that are appealing their 2026 value? Anyone in the townships? If not, it's recommended that the 2026 assessments of all other townships and classes of property be approved as returned by the Townships Board of Equalization.
Move, oh,
Second.
okay.
Very good. All right. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have the County Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
I have a question on this. There are two, or do we have two positions here or? Yeah, okay, Ms. Leah knows what I'm going here. Okay, thank you.
Chair Bierke, members, or Commissioner Bierke, just promoted you. Members of the commission. So there is only one seat open for this board. Lane is in the audience from Planning and Zoning. We had 2 applications. Both had expressed interest in the extraterritorial seat for the City of Grand Forks' board. And so I directed them to apply for this one. One didn't qualify, and then the other, that's Lori Applegard, and the other, Mr. Nathan Spicer, had tried to apply for the last one. And if you'll remember, that was the situation where just didn't get it in on time, and to follow guidelines and rules, you went with the other applicant. I don't know if either of the applicants are here today. Mr. Spicer?
Hi, I'm Nathan Spicer. I'm one of the applicants. What's that?
Want to come up to the mic and
How's you gotta hit the button. All right, how's everybody doing today? Good. Do you have any questions about that or?
I'll make a motion to approve Nathan Spicer.
No? All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Spicer.
I am. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the commission. I am Nicole Evans. I'm with the Grand Forks, North Dakota Small Business Development Centers. I've been with SBDC for short because we'll just keep it hyphenated here. I've been with SBDC for 9 years. Go ahead and flip the slide there. We have 7 regional areas of the state where we do provide no-cost confidential business advising. However, you'll see up in the northeast corner up there, those 4 green blocks are my counties. So you'll see Grand Forks in there. Go ahead and hit the next slide. So in those 4 areas, I travel around in providing that no-cost confidential business advising. These are some of the services that are our main core for what we work with small businesses on. You'll see it's a whole facet from anywhere from startup to cybersecurity to franchise to business operations, financial analysis, marketing, feasibility studies. So anything you can think of within the business community is what we help. Go ahead and hit the next slide. Statewide, we like to show this because this is our impacts of what we focus on. So we focus on how many small businesses can we help get up and registered and started, how many jobs are supported within the state, how many clients we have advised per year, and what those hours are. And of course, you'll see the capital client formation for 2025 was $144,848,558. So that is what we have helped businesses be able to form in capital, whether it is that startup, loans, and things to expand on, buy, sells. So the capital formation you can see is quite the nice, kind of the nice number there. Go ahead and hit the next slide. And so for my regional area, this is a 2025, and I spent quite a few hours with clients, but you'll see 20 businesses we've helped create. Now, keep in mind when we talk impacts, impacts are where a business has started, whether they've spent $1, received $1, they've received a loan or anything, but My numbers you'll see for capital formation are kind of low. However, it's actually pretty impactful for when we talk about some of the regional businesses, because you'll see on one of the slides where that is kind of in the smaller rural areas. We are quite rural too, so I do focus a lot on rural. And I live in a rural area, so working here and there, I see both sides of the spectrum of big and small. But in order to collect these impacts, we also have to have the client sign off on that. So sometimes I spend a little bit of chasing the formations and the business starts. So the numbers would probably be a little bit higher than that, but it is kind of hard to get them once they get their money. They're like, woohoo, I'm in business, and they're busy. So it is a little bit hard to kind of go after them and get that impact in. But that kind of gives you an overview of like how we kind of keep count of what we do. So go ahead and hit the next slide. So this is the Grand Forks County area for the last 5 years, but you'll see the clients assisted in the following communities below, like I said, rural. And so I spend a lot of time all over in the counties, but I do like to spend a lot of time in some of these rural communities as well. And you'll see kind of the capital formation and how the last 5 years have gone for the Grand Forks area. So obviously you'll see it kind of like a roller coaster. So go ahead and hit the next slide. And this is, so in order for us to grab testimonials, we do have to get their permission to do it. This is kind of, for me, I own and operate 3 small businesses. So for me, there's a lot of empathy in my job. There's a lot of support that goes behind it. There's a lot of time for me to take and help these small businesses thrive in everything that they have, questions, concerns, comments on. But to get them to their next goal and to keep the doors open, because we know shopping local is pretty important. So go ahead and hit the next slide. And we do success stories. So we hope that not only us, but our resources, people we collaborate with, would also be a part of these success stories. But this will give you kind of an idea of some of the businesses that I have worked in and around the area. So you can see anywhere from skilled trades all the way through construction, manufacturing, to beauty, music, and healthcare. So variety of things that we help with. And you'll see on the left-hand side, that is our menu for our website. You can find cybersecurity assessments. So if there's businesses out there that kind of want to know, am I within that cybersecurity realm, they can take free assessments online. So go ahead and hit the next one. And then I'm going to flip this over now to Marnie, because she does more of the funding and why investing in our program is important.
Good afternoon. I'm Marnie Shusky, Associate State Director for the program. So we are a federal program through the Small Business Administration, but that program requires one-to-one match at the state or local level. We do receive a significant portion of that match from the Bank of North Dakota, but rely on local, regional organizations to help complete that circle and support the program's operations across the state. If you can go to the next slide, please. That lists, we have an annual report that lists all of our investors and program supporters. We use match at the regional level to support both the travel of Nicole to go out beyond her office here in Grand Forks, but also her professional development to keep her at the cutting edge of the assistance that might be needed or requested from one of our clients. Perhaps a student intern to help them learn to supplement the work of the office, which perhaps someone sitting on the panel can attest to, who used to be an intern for us. Other centers across the state are also supported by counties. For example, our Devils Lake office is at the regional council. So the counties that are in their region are all supporting there as well. Our last slide, I just included a few additional testimonials from some clients. The work we do really makes the difference, and we hear that from our clients routinely. But we need the support of local partners, regional partners, to make that happen. Any questions for myself or Nicole? Thank you.
Thank you.
I keep turning off my mic. I'm really sorry. Dawn and crew are here. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Hagan and Commissioners. Thank you for your time today. I am Dawn Mant with the Red River Regional Council, and I'm here to speak about our organization. And I bring forth 30 plus years of community and economic development in rural North Dakota. And with me today, I also have Amy Suda, who is a Walsh County Commissioner, and our board president, Barry Wilford with the Chamber of Grand Forks and East Grand Forks, who is our vice president, and Lisa Rotvold, who has been hired as our executive director of our nonprofit partner, the Red River Community Housing Development Organization. We are one of 8 regional councils in the state, serving 4 counties in Region 4, the same 4 that Nicole highlighted for the SBDC program. And I would like to give them a shout out. We regularly work with Nicole and all of their services, and they're vital to our business community throughout Region 4. Our work is funded by 20 to 25 sources annually, some of which require non-federal match. For 27, we are projecting $1.4 million in revenue and $1.34 million in expenses. And we've become a family of about 5 organizations at this time. So we are providing shared services to 3 county-level JDAs, as well as the Red River Chodo, which Lisa represents. So I wanted to share why your investment in our organization is crucial. Your $75,000 approximately supports about a half-time position, which its true value is the flexibility that it provides. It allows us to act quickly, leverage outside dollars, and take on challenges in a market that the market alone is not addressing. And housing is our clearest example, and that's what we'll be focusing on today. In 2022, our office conducted 130 rural business interviews. Employers identified the need for 1,500 new workers, with housing being the top barrier. Since then, there have also been about 1,000 international agricultural workers that have joined our communities, further increasing the housing demand. In early 2022, I asked 3 state agencies and 2 nonprofit housing developers to join forces in what I called the Rural Housing Task Force. This led to changes in the Housing Incentive Fund at the state level and finally opened the door for single-family housing in small towns, where previously just 6% of more than $100 million of state investment had been invested. And at the same time, we acted locally. With your support, we reactivated the nonprofit housing development organization, the Red River Chodo, which we had established in 1996, and it had been dormant for approximately 15 years. Under Lisa Rotvold's leadership, she brings 30 plus years of nonprofit housing development experience, which has resulted in 1,200 units across North Dakota. And we quickly moved into action. And so since 2022, we have completed a regional rural housing study with 17 community focus groups, 3 build sessions, really focused on how do we move forward and how do we prepare for the future. And often when housing studies are done, they're looking at past trends and not really looking forward to what the future needs are. And so we really were focusing on those 1,500 jobs our communities were trying to create and had the limit of poor housing conditions. We launched the Spark Build program, which Lisa will talk more about today. And 2 of our inaugural homes were in Larimore, and they sold before completion, which we have found with every house that we're building, they're largely sold before we're finished. We've partnered with other for-profit and nonprofit organizations to build 184 apartments and townhomes. The townhomes are still under development. We're working hard for the 3rd year in a row to get those projects off the ground. We've elevated rural priorities by convening what we call the State of Region 4 event, which prompted the creation of the Legislative Rural Caucus, which was co-chaired by Senator Myrdal and Representative Jared Haggart, which were both from Region 4. In Emerito specifically, we completed a mobile park redevelopment assessment, and this body actually agreed to partner in that. We submitted a $60 million request to HUD in 2024. We did not get funding. However, I've known that throughout my career, when we put a lot of energy into something, it usually results in something at some point. The Amaretto concept is about a $20 to $25 million redevelopment plan in just the mobile home park alone. We have advanced federal funding efforts with HUD, and now we are preparing an EPA brownfields application, which will include the Amaretto site. We continue working with local leaders who are very anxious to both support and seize the opportunities around Grand Sky and the Air Force Base. And we always try to figure out what's the urban equivalent to some of our work. So I'd like to share that one new home in Larimore is the per capita equivalent of 800 new homes in Fargo. Just to put the scale of this impact when we talk about 1 and 2 homes, it's really a significant impact in small towns that have not had much new construction for decades. And so finally, I wanted to just bring this to a close, and ultimately comes down to taxpayer value. We fully understand the pressure you're dealing with and the limits on the property tax revenue. New housing is one of the few tools that will grow your tax base, and that growth is outside the state's 3% cap. That means housing development not only supports workforce needs, but it directly improves the county's financial conditions. Your investment in our organization allows us to bring outside dollars into the region, quickly move on projects like Amaretto, and turn housing policy into real housing on the ground. And without this funding, these projects would not move forward. With that, we're leveraging your $75,000 into millions of development projects, expanding the tax base, supporting the workforce, and our economy depends on it. This return on investment is what we're focused on every single day. And with that, I would first ask if you have any questions, and then I would like to invite Lisa to the podium.
I got a couple on there. Do you, I'm going off this right.
Yep.
You have, your staff is 4.75 people when you add up the partial FTEs?
Yes,
that
and
correct?
so I mentioned we are doing shared services. So you're seeing and likely quoting our core staff at the top, the Red River Regional Council staff. We are also employing the directors for the 3 JDAs in Walsh, Pembina, and Nelson counties, and the Red River Choteau. So we've come together as a collective team and have contracts for services with those organizations.
So so the executive director is at a full-time position or? Well, it says here.
For each of those, the only one that is not is Anna Halverson in Nelson County. She's half-time, and we've then tried to fill her with another role for the other half-time to be able to offer her a full-time position.
So 1, 2, 3, 4.75. So you have 7.75? Am I doing my math right?
You're probably in the right neighborhood. Yep.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, for your health insurance, how's that? Do you guys split that at all? How, like
We are
80, 20, 90, whatever?
Yeah, we're currently providing 100% of the employee healthcare and 90% of the dependents.
Okay. Well, 'cause I just want to, it's $217,000
Yeah,
out of your budget. So,
we got handed a Blue Cross increase last year of 19%.
well, we wish it was that low.
Yeah, yeah.
But, okay, I just want to make sure I had all the positions down.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you.
And those that are with the other organizations, they do bring their own budgets to the table. So they are contracting for our services. Any
Right,
other?
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Lisa.
Good afternoon. As a private nonprofit, Red River Choteau's role is to pursue housing development that the for-profit sector can't or won't. We look at root causes and identify strategies to overcome systemic problems. Our Spark Building Initiative is designed to jumpstart new home construction in small towns to manage risk for builders, lenders, and homebuyers, and to create comparable sales that support future development. We know housing is a significant economic driver, and it's a long-term investment in communities. To get a sense of the economic impact of new home construction, we looked at recent findings published by the University of Minnesota Extension They analyzed the economic impact of Otter Tail County's Big Build, which started in 2020 and ran through 2025. We liked that study because they're kind of like us. They're Midwest, they're rural. And so we thought there could be some good comparisons. The handout that was provided, and that is this one, kind of puts the numbers to it. It shows the 1-year construction impact and the annual habitation impact for single-family homes. If we apply these numbers to the first 22 homes that Red River Choteau has built or is in the process of building in Region 4 and assume a 75-year life cycle, we can project a lifetime positive economic impact of as much as $168 million throughout Region 4. When Red River Choteau was reactivated and the focus was on action, we are off to a good start, but we see more opportunity. Our primary source of operating revenue is developer fees. We earn fees when we complete housing projects. However, housing is a long game. It can take years to develop a concept, secure land, compile adequate financing, design, build, and place in service new housing developments. From concept to completion, Red River Regional Council has been floating our operations until we can repay them from our developer fee earnings. We're always a little bit behind, and so we need that float. One reason the Regional Council can play this role is the flexible money that the counties contribute to their budget. What's next for Red River Choteau? The bottom part of this handout kind of outlines what we have charted for the next year or two. That includes addressing the affordability gap for households earning less than 80% of area median income, tapping into some federal resources that are not suitable for small projects. If we bundle 20 houses in Grand Forks and 5 houses in Park River and 5 houses in Grafton, we can maybe get to a scale where we can tap into some of these federal resources that really don't work small, as an example. We're exploring manufactured and modular housing as alternatives to provide affordable options, placed on permanent foundations, and have a vision for a manufactured housing friendly neighborhood. We are working to expand the Regional Council single-family homeowner rehab program. And we are telling our stories to policymakers because if we don't tell them, they won't know. HIF is helping rural communities. We need matching funds for rural communities to add housing infrastructure. And we would love to see the slum and blight grants that allow communities to tear down dilapidated properties and put those lots back into new development of additional housing. The other thing that we strongly support is the idea of a master plan for Grand Forks County around the air base and Grand Sky. Visiting with various communities, you really see a role that cities like Larimore, Thompson, Northwood, and Emerado might be able to contribute to meeting some of those needs, housing and others, to support a strong regional economy. That is my presentation. Barry's going to join us. That is very good. Oh, there you are.
Barry Wilford with the Chamber of Commerce. I'm just going to make 2 points. Terry's had a really good question on the 7.5 employees. I think what I'm really impressed by is that imagine if you had all those different organizations, each one of those things highlighted on that sheet, and they had their own office. I think one of the real positives of the Regional Development Commission is that you have all of these different functions under one roof. You're cutting a whole bunch of overhead. This is really an efficiency and a very efficient organization in terms of how it overall runs. So I think that's an important point that I wanted to make. The second one is, you might wonder, why is the Chamber of Commerce president for Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, on a regional development commission? Our trade area extends into both Minnesota and into the northern part of North Dakota. How these small counties north of us do has a tremendous impact on how our county does in terms of its economic success. So investing in programs like this that are going to continue to frankly help these small communities that are really just frankly trying to survive. It's really important work, and we have a great staff. They do great work, and the results are, I think, pretty well explained on that handout that was put out. So thank you, Chairwoman Hagan. Appreciate it.
Madam Chair, I have a question. I don't know which one of you two, this Emerado, because when I was in the base out there 50 years ago, Emerado had his own grocery store. It was a boom town and not doing so well now. So what's going on out there with that trailer court? What's the plan there? What are we trying to do there? Because, you know, when I follow up with Mr. Ford, Ms. Leon, the base doesn't want to build housing. Then the base, that's not a knock on the base, but let's call it like it is. Then the base complains about people having to drive from the city in the wintertime. Well, okay, you don't want to build any housing out there, so people have to drive out there. So what's the long-term plan for Emerado? Is it to bulldoze that? I'll put it in English. Bulldoze the trailer court down and build something out there? What are we trying to accomplish here? The sheriff would like that bulldoze part down.
Yeah. You know,
Sorry to throw into the bus there.
we know that Emerado faces some challenges, and yet some opportunities. It's so well positioned to be able to help meet some of those needs. There's some fundamental weaknesses in their infrastructure and the quality of some of the housing that's there. You know, I guess our vision after putting the time in to submit the application for $60 million to invest into mobile home parks around the region, you know, we really zeroed in on Emerado as being kind of like the number one, like if we could do one thing, this is what we'd like to see happen. And I think there could be some opportunities. We've met with the superintendent at the school, kind of pulled a group together earlier this year. Yeah. And, you know, would really like to see something happen. And so our response to her was, you know, what makes the most sense is, can we pull together a coalition of people from the county, from the cities in the area, from the air base, to sit down and talk about what do we need? What's the vision? What's going to help support Grand Sky? What's going to help support the base? How can investments in some of these rural communities strengthen the community as well as serving some of those needs? And Grand Forks obviously is meeting, you know, a tremendous amount of those needs as well. But there are opportunities for some of the smaller towns, and we would like to bring that to the forefront. I would very much like to see maybe a request go to the legislature asking for some investment in some kind of a strategic plan to kind of chart a path forward that would improve things in Emerado and hopefully help us get some housing and other development going in that area.
The question for Mr. Ford then. So where are we at in relation to the county and the base and all? So how are you involved in that? What's the count? What are we doing as a county? What should we do and what not be doing? But like I said, if the base doesn't want to build, but they don't want to drive, so what's the apartments out? What are we doing? You know, if you got 8 or more people, X amount are going to be singles. So if they're not going to put barracks up, of course, I guess they're dorms now. But if they're not going to do this, what's the plan?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Commissioner Bierke, that's about an hour-long answer. But right now, Grand Forks Air Force Base, their housing is at 98% occupancy. So they are full. They have brought some dorms online. A lot of airmen that come to the base, their first term airmen, that's their first duty station, 18, 19, single, 20 years old. What I know the base needs, what Grand Sky needs is a lot of unaccompanied housing, but then some affordable is a relative term. We know that these days, but some more relative some more affordable housing around the base so that they're not having to make that drive. Some don't even have cars yet when they come. But the other thing is needed is lodging, because it's a 24/7 air base, plus Grand Sky now is 24/7. So you need unaccompanied housing. You need young professional, young airman family housing, whether that's mixed, whether that's row homes, duplexes, and then they need lodging for stays for if there's bad weather or if there's DDY training at Grand Sky or Grand Forks Air Force Base. There is no magic solution. To your point, sir, and I'll wrap it up with this, is the Air Force specifically went into privatized housing. So they gave up housing and they said a private entity will take it on. It's Balfour Beatty is the manager out there at the base. The struggle you're seeing between defense communities and the installations are Air Force specifically is privatized housing. They need more housing. The privatized housing manager doesn't want to put money into building more housing, so they're asking DOD to put up money so that these private entities can put in more housing. So you have a pretty good impasse there. We have looked in the past, this board has looked into creative ways to support the housing issue around Grand Forks Air Force Base to include another housing EUL. And I'm sure you guys can attest to this. The problem is in and around Grand Forks Air Force Base, what developer is going to write a big check to put in the infrastructure that's required to go in and then hope that they're going to recoup that. So those are the ongoing struggles. But we're just at the table trying to hear it out, hear what the struggles are, figure out where we can work with the base, where we can support Red River Regional Council and things like that. But until the Pentagon figures out the housing, and it's a can of worms, sir. But anyways, I said I'd wrap it up. The privatized doesn't want to put in the money to build more housing, and the military is saying we're not going to put in the money because we have a contract with you, and that's where they're at.
And they closed the motel, right?
They closed the motel, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, if you shoot yourself in the foot, you might have some issues. Okay, thanks.
Yes, go ahead.
Would like to add a further comment. Thank you, Madam Chair. But to address your comments further in this idea of the state investing in master plans, I worked for Advanced Engineering at 2010 at the beginning of the oil play, and my mother grew up in Parshall, North Dakota. So I was very familiar with the area, which was about to be booming on the backs of small towns and, constant approval of drilling permits, which was really, really great and exciting, but these towns were not prepared to do that. So we actually advocated for a state investment in master planning for those communities. And I'm of the belief that if the state and the feds are really investing in some high impact projects, even the private sector, high impact projects in small towns that are not equipped for them, that there should be some investment in planning and infrastructure development so we can adequately support small towns like Amarillo, because they do want to do big things. They just need a hand to get it done. So thank you.
I got a question real quick. So just maybe more out of curiosity, but with the housing projects that you guys are doing, what percentage would you say are blighted property, single home refurbishment / tear down rebuilds versus more of a green new development, single family home?
Thank you for the question, and Madam Chair and Commissioner Hodney. Yapping on. So the last item in your packet was this handout about Spark Build, which is the work that Lisa's been leading for the last couple of years, and the new housing production. So these are all new builds. And what we've been doing is sprinkling them all over the region so that we can prove up the market is there and the appraisal gap can go away, because we are selling houses at market value. So we're not subsidizing these builds, but the state funds are enabling the houses get built. On the other hand, we've been doing regional housing rehab for homeowner rehab for low and moderate income households. We just received, with Lisa's assistance, our organization received $1.2 million from the Federal Home Loan Bank, and we're in the process of renovating 20 homes within the region with a priority for veterans and disabled and elderly. So that's a region-wide investment. We used to partner extensively with the Red River Community Action Organization, which was also deeply involved in rehab. So we're looking to kind of play a deeper role in these ways so that we can, restore those homes for those homeowners, but also retain that housing stock for the future.
Thank you for that. And then maybe one more while you're up there. So what challenges have you guys faced with just contractor availability?
Oh, well, Lisa's pretty famous for this quote, the whole system's broken. And so it extends from the contractor availability, attracting developers to work in small towns has been a real, we have to build it from within. And so we talk frequently about also building the next generation of builders and working with our CTEs and really teeing up that there are serious career and job opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities if we can cultivate that culture within. And we are opening a regional business incubator this winter. And so that will be one of our focus areas is cultivating this whole sector. But the system from lending against commercial or lending construction loans in small towns has been dormant. The contractors are dormant. The whole system is something that we're just looking at it from a systemic overview. Mm-hmm. Thank you for all your time. We really appreciate it.
Next order of business is our mill levy consolidation conversation that we started last time. Mr.
Right.
Brady?
Yeah, I got, and these are just some generic concepts. I talked to Ms. Ronson before we start. So what I'm looking for today is if the commission is interested in following up on these things. So the wording I'm going to say is not what's going to be on the ballot. She'll have to do the research and, figure all that out and have it worded properly. But this is more about concepts. The first one would be measure, I call it the flexibility in budgeting. That's where we would ask for the voters to allow the county to consolidate or combine mills, however you want to phrase that. And I think the carrot for that would be that if we added up our North Dakota Century Code maximum mill levies, whatever that comes to, and any mill levy that we charge that doesn't have a maximum, we could put what we currently charge. So say factor X, we give them a mill a year. So that would be, so then put all those together and say and these numbers are not accurate, they're just for math. Say it's 100, we would go to them and say that we would like this flexibility in budgeting, and we would cap ourselves at 90, say, at 90 mills instead. And that any attempt to raise that level, the new level of 90, if it passes, would have to be approved by the voters by a 60% approval rating from the voters of that election. And if you want to, I don't like special elections because you can play with those to cater to when you don't want people to show up to vote, like say July 3rd or something like that. So we could even cater that to put that on the, only on a primary or in June or the November general. I'm open to that too. We would stipulate that we would only do these on a regularly scheduled election. So we're not trying to play around with it. But that'd be the purpose of that. I'm going to take one at a time. The purpose of that would be to give us, and the reason why is that we had letter X in our budget, we needed to increase it, but right now we couldn't because there's a mandated limit. If we had flexibility, we could go over that, and then say 2 years later, we would drop that back down. And so we can move around. We're not constrained. Right now, general fund is this, capital is this, roads is, there's a limit on all these things. And so the purpose would give to the elected officials more flexibility as they do the budget year by year to move the money around as they see areas that might need more or less, as opposed to, I have no idea how long that stuff's been in the Century Code, but I doubt it's all, I'm confident it's all old. So I would like to see us try something different. And so like I said, the carrot would be we would reduce the amount. So that's what I'm looking for. And then tonight, I'm looking for, not necessarily that you would even totally be put on the ballot, but the question tonight is, do you want the work done? I'm not going to ask Ms. Wamstead and to some degree Ms. Morstead and Mr. Ford to start doing all this work to bring it up for you. And then 3, you don't want, so it gets blown up and that's just wasted hours. So clearly, this is just number one, I would want to do that, to look at flexibility in our budgeting, to figure out that number, reduce it, and then it takes a 60% supermajority vote of the voters to raise that new threshold up if we wanted to change it. So that's the first one. So I guess I'm just looking for comments, yays or nays or wherever, if we want to go down this road, because I think we ought to have it for the November election. Once again, people would, it's a regular election, and that's the highest turnout is the November elections.
So I've been giving this a lot of thought with the mill consolidation. My only concern is that I feel like the legislature is going to do some changes to the 3% cap. I feel like there's a lot of counties that have been struggling with this. And if we go and make changes and then more changes come, are we going to be back in the same position that we were now? If that makes sense. If we're going to try to make it easier on ourselves, are we just going to have to continue to do this constantly until the legislature comes up with a final, this is what it's going to be like for the foreseeable future? That's my only concern. I'm not against it. I'm just saying that that's.
All we're deciding tonight, do you want Ms. Wamstead to bust out the legal pad and go to it or not? That's what I'm looking for, because I'm not a fan of wasting staff time. So, I mean, I'm all in.
Yeah.
But I need 2 more people. And if the other 3 or 4 don't want it, just say scrap it. We'll move on to the next one.
Is the senior citizen center and the ambulance service included in this?
No, that's a separate one. I don't want to confuse them.
Okay.
That's a separate issue.
I'll move to approve this.
Second.
First. Okay, we have a first and a second. Is there any other discussion? No? All right. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Bierke?
Yes.
Mr. Hodney?
Yes.
Mr. Rost? Yes. All right. Mr. Rusted?
Yes.
All right. I'm open to this too. I'm going to vote yes. So that motion is approved unanimously.
Okay. Ms. Wamstead, before I move on, I'm confident you got the gist of it. If not, let me know. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. The second one, once again, is this is a concept. So we're not doing anything tonight. It's just, do we want to do this or not? I would call this, I'll refrain from my sense of humor.
Please don't. I'm sorry.
That's why I'm going to refrain. Currently, we have 6 mills dedicated to the ambulance and 1 mill dedicated to the senior. For a total of 7 mills. Yeah, 6 and 1 is a total of 7. If our budget for property tax, I'm rounding all numbers off all the time. It's about 34 million. This is 8.5% of your budget, which you have absolutely positively, can I keep saying this? You have no control over this money. I think it's fiscally irresponsible to have 8.5% of our budget where we have no say in how what's going on. Here's the money. And I'll give you a couple examples to prove the point. Let's say another hospital came to Grand Forks and we wanted to put the ambulance service up for bid. And the current amount is $2.2 million. And hospital, doesn't matter which one. One of the two said we could do it for 1.8 million. Doesn't matter. We have to pay them 2.2 because it's mandated by the people. So why would we force ourselves to overpay? It makes no sense. And second part about the senior, and once again, I'm old and I'm a vet and I can say this stuff. Can't come back at me. All right? So I'm the old guy. The senior center. I don't believe a good place for the government to be is to brag how many people you have on a government program. I believe the place we should be as to brag how many people are no longer on a government program. I don't believe, and this is, if you read the handout, and you know me, I read it, I don't believe every year getting more and more people signed up for meals is appropriate. I'll be blunt with my old veteran discount. I can go to Pizza Ranch and have a mass casualty van at that chicken area And it's about the same price as what the senior citizen charges. But I will pay for it myself. And so the point being is, this isn't, I don't want to come across, that's why I'm using the humor, to bash anyone, but we should, I don't care what it, I don't care if it's the sheriff, the jail, the road, I don't think we should have votes where mills are mandated and we have no say in it. We're a Republican, and don't get all concerned, that's the government, not the party. We're a republic type of government. We are the elected officials to oversee the money, and I think it's better financially if we oversee the money instead of letting that money go out and then here's the money, do what you want with it. Not saying they're building quality littering centers, not saying anything's untoward or wrong. I'm saying is, though, it's just not good financial management. And so, and back to and Ms. Wamsa gave me some more information on the hospital, the city, and we need to look into that too. But so what we would be doing here is asking, and once again, we're not doing anything. We're just putting it up for a vote. I always have found it amusing in my long political career, where I've lost a lot of votes, that it always seems that if we want to raise taxes, that'll get put on the ballot, lickety split. Any attempt to control spending, good luck getting that on the ballot. So all this will do is tell the people of Grand Forks County, do you want to keep doing this or do you not? That's all we're going to be asking for. Because if it's mandated already, they would have to repeal it. So what I would like to do is to repeal the mandated mill levies, and that any attempt in the future to mandate mill levies in this way would require a 60% supermajority of the voters. So this vote, what I'm asking us to look into, at this point, takes no money away, takes nothing away from the citizens who voted for this, depending on which one, 20 to 40 years ago. And to me, it shows that we're serious about accountability with our budget. So that's where I'm at. And same thing, I'd like to be in November. If it fails, if we get it up there, if it passes, then we change. If it doesn't, then we'll move on. And if the citizens of this county want 8.5% of their budget not to be scrutinized, not to be looked at, while we cut other stuff, they just keep, here's your money, blank check, take it away. If that's what they want, then they can vote for it. I think, especially where we're at financially as a county, we owe it to the taxpayers to put this on there and let them decide. Speech over.
This one I struggle with a little bit more because I feel like, and Commissioner Bierke, you referenced earlier that you didn't want to waste staff's time. I can't even envision a scenario where the optics of something like this wouldn't be twisted, and basically it would be all for naught. I don't, because taking money from rural ambulance and senior citizens is how it would be twisted, even though that's understandably not your goal here. But I don't know how we could overcome the optics battle to even get an 80-20 vote. I think we'd lose by 90% or something. And so I'm not sure if it's worth Ms. Wamstead and Mr. Ford's time to put in my opinion, just as one person talking, but in my opinion, an absolute losing battle on the ballot. And so I hesitate with this one a little bit. The other one I think is a fantastic idea that we just passed unanimously. This one I just can't envision a scenario where it passes. So I'll give my time back to the rest of the board.
You want to go ahead, Mr. Ross?
I'm totally against that too. I actually, ambulance service is so critical, so important. They have enough trouble getting volunteers, paramedics in rural communities to operate ambulance. It's just critical for those people out in the rural areas, and not only the rural areas, but in Grand Forks too. You know, I've I've been involved in emergency services for, 50 some years, but it's so important, and I don't even think we should even be talking about this. And as far as the senior center goes, if you haven't been in there to see how it operates, how critical it is to the senior citizens in this community, not only this community, but it filters out into Larimore and Northwood, and it's just so important. And a long time ago, the people of Grand Forks County spoke up and said, this is what we want to do. I'm a senior citizen, and I know Terry Bierke is too, but it's just critical, and I don't even think we should be talking about it.
No, I kind of, Commissioner Rusted and Commissioner Rost, I think you bring up great points on just where this would probably end up. I was curious though, just from Ms. Wamsted's standpoint, how would this even be framed up? I mean, can you maybe explain your point of view on this? How we would go about?
Commissioner Hodney, members of the board, just for clarification, are you referring to concept 2 or both?
Concept 2.
Okay. So I think concept 2 could be framed 2 different ways. It could be framed as an amendment to our home rule charter, or the Board of Commissioners has the ability to put either mill levy on the ballot. So I think it could be framed that way without an amendment to the home rule charter. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And it just personal point on this. I don't think any of the intention of what Mr. Bierke's bringing up would be that anything would be unfunded from its current standpoint. It's just right now, if you have a department, you pick any department where if it's in a fixed mill level funding model, it's very hard to manage change if you feel like something is there's efficiencies to be had if you just have one bucket of money that has a hole in it that you're going to empty every year. I think that's the whole point around the concept is that you could better manage departments in general who would be under the fixed mill levy to make sure that there's efficiencies, or if things change or needs change over time, you could address that more appropriately. Where right now, I think there's the obvious point that you can't influence those dollars at all, even if you see a need to change a practice. So, not saying that I necessarily support that, but I do see that we just want to call out that it doesn't mean that any of these would be necessarily reduced in funding. It's just that down the road or through budgeting, if you're drilling into a department and you see that there's obvious waste somewhere in that something that should be changed or no longer needed, it could be addressed better and then ultimately get those dollars back. But that's just one thing I want to note.
Madam Chair, I would like to make the motion that we turn down the request of Commissioner Bierke on that item 2.
All right. We have a motion on the floor with the first. Is there a second?
If it's a motion to not entertain a motion, is a motion necessary, Ms. Wamsted?
I don't think there was an original motion. I think Mr. Rost is a motion. Mr. Bierke was
I'll make a
explaining.
motion. I'll make a motion.
Well, we have a motion on the floor first, so
Yeah, no second, so if
okay.
I can get a second, it dies.
I'll second it for discussion. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, I'll throw then we'll discuss it.
Perfect.
I'll make if we're going to go in technicalities, which is nothing I love better in life than Robert's Rules of Orders, I'll be happy to jump down that road. So if the discussions, we have to have a motion first, I'll make the motion. I just want to point out, I don't care I don't care if it was the sheriff's office, I don't care if it was the highway. There's no one I would give money to and say, here's a pile of money, and I'm not going to ask you how you spend it. Just take it, spend it every year. Here you go. No questions asked. That's not good financial management for a house, anything. And so, and I don't care how the vote comes out. If the people choose to waste their money, then that's their choice. But I want that on them. When their taxes go up, and you owe me pretty well, I'll be happy to remind them why. That you took 8.5% of the budget and you said it's off limits. We can't even talk about it. Here's the check. It's bad management. And that's the whole issue. It's in some ways, whether that's the ambulance and the senior is irrelevant. It's the financial aspect of this. And when we start telling people, we had presentations tonight, when we start telling people and we start busting out, depending on who, the paring knife, the hatchet, or the chainsaw, and start cutting the budget, we're telling them you're going to take a cut, and these people just get their money. No questions asked. It's not good budgeting. That's the whole issue.
Yeah. Ms. Wamstead, we briefly talked about this at the last meeting, but these two entities, we would have to go under just a different sort of agreement that we would still give them money to fund their services, but it wouldn't just necessarily be a mill levy. It would be a dollar amount. I'm not sure how to articulate that, but maybe you can better.
Madam Chair, members of the board, yes, that would be an option if the voter imposed levy was overturned by the voters, but the board wished to continue funding the services. We could do like a service agreement like we have with other organizations, if that was the wishes of the board.
Madam
Just-
Chair.
Just 1 second, Mr. Resta. Is that something that what you're looking at? Because you're saying that they're not.
Fine, it's a mill levy. Every year we pick an amount of money, whatever that, because as long as the values go up, now once again, another aspect of this is the valuation of a house goes up. If we cut to reduce it so it's a match, these 7 mills aren't going to apply because we can't cut them. So while we are doing everything we can to keep taxes at a level on this area, and that doesn't count the other 4 mills between state, soil conservation, 4.5, soil conservation, and river water district that we have no control over. So 7 and 4, now we're up to 11.5 mills of the 87.7 or 8, whatever it is, that we have no control over. I think it's bad. We can just set this up that we allocate whatever the dollar figure is. Let's say it's this year was 2.4 million for ambulance in general. And let's just say we want to next year just to keep it at 2. Then we allocate to, we vote on it just like every other item in our budget.
Right.
Just pick the mill levy and here it is. And I also want to address, listen, I have no problem with, I don't care what people say about me. I don't care how they mock me. I don't care what they say about this to me. I don't care. This is a financial issue. And if we lose because a bunch of people get scared because they're all going to starve and not get medical care, and if they believe that and vote that way, so be it. But I'll be out there making sure I get the true message out. But I'm not concerned how someone might frame this campaign in order to keep money. That's irrelevant to me. And I'm not saying anyone up here is wrong. I'm just saying this. If it's something I believe in, I'm going to the wall. It's on. And I don't care. I don't care what they say about me. In some ways, I don't care if I win or lose. And so I'm not concerned about public perception. That's not my job. My job is to make sure our money is spent, and by our, I mean the taxpayers, not ours. The taxpayer money is spent to the best of our abilities. And that's why I'm doing this. And I don't care what anybody says about me or how it gets framed or what happens if I were to run and when I'm whatever, 70 something. The point being, I'm all about, and once again, this is just me, so it's not a comment on anyone sitting up here. What I believe is the right way to budget our money.
Yeah.
That's what it says about me.
And I don't think Mr. Rusted, I know you still have that comment. I don't think what he intended to say was that it would be a perception of us. It's just the messaging of, oh, the county wants to take away money from the ambulance and the senior center. I think that's what people are going to be saying. Not that that's the
I guarantee
truth.
that's what they're going to be saying.
Right. Mr. Rusted, I apologize. I cut you off originally. Did you still have your comment ready?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I don't mind if we put it on the ballot. That's fine. My whole point was, I don't know that it's worth the staff time because of I mean, I think it'll get absolutely crucified at the ballot box. I'm not convinced although the concept is, I think, very logical, and I agree with about 98% of what Commissioner Bierke just said, maybe even 100%. I guess I can't really think of something I disagree with. Practical and correct sometimes don't intersect. And like the messaging will be so brutal that it will make us look like we are literally, remember years ago pushing grandma off the cliff or whatever. It'll be that type of thing. And so I don't see like a path forward to get it. I mean, if you guys want to put it on the ballot, I'll support that. That's fine. And I'll even go and vote for it. But it has like a practically 0% chance, in my opinion, of passing. So I don't know that if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak.
Right. We still have a motion.
Yep.
To second, and please remind me your motion. Sorry, we've had a lot of conversation again.
Say no. The ballot in November.
Okay, no to Mr. Okay. Okay, very good. Is there any other discussion before we vote? All right, Mr. Bierke.
In a shocking development, that'd be yes.
Very good. Mr. Hodney.
Yes.
Mr. Rost.
No.
Mr. Rusted.
No.
And as much as I want to, I'm going to say no as well. So motion not passed 3-2, right? No, yeah, 3-2. I can do math. All right. In a not hot topic, number 12 is data center development policy. So.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I can kick this discussion off, and Mr. Magnuson is here as well to weigh in and answer any technical questions. But this was a request of the board to discuss data centers. You had a memo in your packet, and then you had a model ordinance in your packet that was created by the North Dakota League of Cities and North Dakota Association of Counties. And like it says in your packets, neither Mr. Magnuson or I are endorsing this. It's just in there as a model. But obviously data centers are becoming more and more talked about. But for the commission's awareness, at the request of Commissioner Rusted, I did reach out to some of our utility and infrastructure partners, Minn Kota and NODAC, along with some of the communities that have some of the larger data centers. But I think the intent of that discussion was, Commissioner Rusted's intent was, is there infrastructure concerns here in the county that if a data center were to come, it would put a strain on current infrastructure and utility users. There is actually there are data centers in the county already. We drive by them just about daily and don't even realize that they're data centers. I think the big thing for this discussion is when we hear data centers, we think the big, massive monstrosity that uses a lot of infrastructure and utilities. These are all much smaller. But the discussion with NODAC and Minn Kota was enlightening. There's really no concerns on their end other than electrical capacity. It's worth the boards to know that Minn Kota and NODAC are co-ops. So if a large data center comes to the region, to the county, and needs more infrastructure, whether it's electrical, water, roads, those costs are not going to be passed on, specifically with the co-ops, because they don't want to pass those costs on to their members. But electrical capacity was a concern. But most data centers, when they come in, we can put things in development agreements, such as roads, water, electrical capacity, things like that. The new technology that you're seeing in data centers now has really mitigated some of the more vocal or louder concerns that you hear tied to data centers. They're noisy, they smell, they use a lot of water. With new technology, a lot of that's been mitigated with closed loop cooling systems, things like that. And these, if this happens and the commission wants to move forward with a policy, we can address a lot of these. Where you get concerned, or where we would have concerns with noise and water, would be the older technology, the air cooled data centers. And again, those can be mitigated. So you have what's in your packet, but I think right now we'd highly recommend any county policy governing the development of data centers just be consistent with existing planning and zoning policies and permitting processes, such as to stay consistent on how we would do agribusiness or manufacturing and things like that. I've had a few people reach out. They think that this conversation's about banning data centers. I don't think that's what the commission was intended for this discussion, but happy to answer any questions. Mr. Magnuson's here to answer any questions as well.
Mr. Bierke, did you have some comments?
Love question. On the, first of all, do we need, in regard to the compatible use study at the base, do we need a moratorium on them to 3/1/27? So then that way that study will be done. And then by having it to that point, then they're not going to be digging ground in February anyway. So then if somebody wanted to build one next year, they'd be able to go for it because the study would be done. The moratorium would expire in the middle of winter or end of winter. So do we need a moratorium in your opinion or not?
No, sir, I don't think we do.
Okay. And then as far as, I do think we should have a written policy. I think we ought to look at number one for power. It's called BYOP, bring your own power. So some kind of work with that as to what the plan is. I know with the natural gas and the flaring and whatnot, I know a lot of places like in Texas and whatnot, they're building their own power stations out in the oil field with data centers because they're just taking the natural gas right from the wells and building their own little substation and then powering them. And so they're not even hooking up to the grid. And so if we're looking at natural gas from a pipeline from the west to Fargo and we're trying to get that line to here, so that's just another thing we could add to say why that line should be come up here so that we would have the capability to have power for data centers. So that's number one. Number two, you mentioned the closed loop systems. I think should consider putting in our ordinance. We want closed loop. I guess if you want to put something in there that will listen, I don't know how you would phrase it, but I think we should try and go closed loop. That way the water or whatever I don't know, use antifreeze, whatever they use, but it's just in there. And so they're not drawing water daily. And then if it's out in the county, it's got to be treated. How does it get to the wastewater treatment plant for the city? If it's a closed loop, that eliminates all those problems. And then number three, you just have the appropriate noise setbacks, just with the, get the old decibel meter out there and look at, do the numbers and see what it is. And then, and I've mentioned this to you, Prowse, I assume then we're also going to be looking, I know there's a big push to try and get them on military installations. So I assume between Grand Sky and the base, because the base housing is all in one part of the base, is there a way we could look at trying to look for areas opposite of that, tied in either to the base or the Grand Sky, to have that? And that'd be another thing to do with the natural gas and whatnot, because that would be, I know the base wants more too. Another reason for the pipeline.
Yeah, and Commissioner Bierke, Madam Chair, Commissioners, I should have noted, and this Mr. Magnuson pointed this out. If there's a data center that goes on Grand Forks Air Force Base and or Grand Sky or the enhanced use lease, that's out of our jurisdiction. Is that right, Mr. Magnuson? We basically, that's federal property. But So does that answer your question, sir, or did I miss the question?
No, but I would just, if just because it goes on the base the base doesn't generate any power.
Right.
So we may or may not legally have something to say, but we would definitely, I would think, work with our congressional delegation and the state, because we don't want our taxpayers to buy energy from whatever the appropriate co-op is, to then have to fund the bill just because they put it on the base. So that goes back to the BYOP. And so I think we need to, let you two do that, your job. Whoever you got to talk to, if it turns out to base or Grand Sky, that we look at the power, the close the loop, and the noise, because we're all going to do the team hug and have a partner hug there at the end, because we're partners. Make sure that all gets worked out, so they do something that then now we have issues, and we're the one that's going to hear it, not them.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's all I had. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm down to half a page or so.
Right, that's great. Any other comments with the data center policy?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I just very quick, Mr. Magnuson, was there anything you would like some clarification on, or any questions you might have for the board? Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, very good. All right, let's move on then. We're just historical preservation contract.
All right. Now we're going to come a different angle here. More what? Y'all want to count?
You guys don't want to stay for this? Okay, great.
Keith, come on, buddy. You're bailing on me. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go have supper. I'll call you at home and fill you in. All right. All right. On the Historical Society, now I'm going to try a different angle here. I'm going to make a motion in a minute. I want to terminate the contract. They've got their money for 2026. So now, once again, this has nothing to do with the money. This goes back to budgeting. With the contract we have written now, we have to get out of it 60 days before the budget vote. So if we miss something, boom, now we're stuck with it. Also, they are guaranteed a set amount of mill levy, $0.25 Once again, why are we telling people you get this guaranteed? We don't do that with the majority of the people, our own departments. We don't say, here, you get this, go. And so the way the contract is written, they're guaranteed X amount of money. And if we don't remember to do what I'm asking tonight, then it's locked in and now it's another year down the road. So when I make the motion is going to be just to terminate the contract, has nothing to do with their money for 2026. They should have got it all by now. Usually there's 2 payments go out. So, and then this will roll into our budget discussion. And then every year we do the budget, we would just go through the historical and what the commission votes on to give them. That's what they get. Could be less. Hey, there could be more. But it'd be part of the budget process. As to now, once again, it's just another automatic, you get the money, we're cutting here, you don't get here's your money, the full amount, go ahead, here's it is. To me, it's bad fiscal management, once again. So at this, I am going to make a motion to terminate the contract with the Historical Society. Ms. Wamstead, am I clear or wrong? Am I good with that?
I think that's appropriate.
Well, it makes my night. All right. All right. So we have a motion for that.
A motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry, missed your second. Any other discussion? Mr. Rusted, did you have any other discussion?
Well, I yelled second like 3 times, but you guys didn't hear me.
You must have been on mute, sir. I had a quick question. This was not, remind me, we've gone through this many times. This wasn't any vote by the people to put this into place, correct? I'm trying to keep them all straight.
Madam Chair, members of the board, you are correct.
Thank you.
It was just the agreement that we've
Very good.
previously discussed.
Very good. All right, sounds good. Any other discussion?
I think just under the pretense that we shouldn't go into a budget cycle with a book that's already closed as far as what we can look at. So
Correct. Very good.
that's the main part here.
All right. All right, there's a first and a second. We'll do a roll call vote again. Mr. Bricky,
Yes.
Mr. Hodney,
Yes.
Mr. Rost,
No.
Mr. Rusted,
Yes.
and I'm also going to vote yes for this motion. So motion is passed 4-1. All right, we moving on to the WIC lease extension.
Just for clarification before we move on.
Yes, ma'am.
The current contract requires written notice.
Okay.
Do you want that to come from our office? The deadline is very quickly looming, so we'll want to get that out.
Yes, I would assume so. I don't know who else. I mean, would it come from us? Could it come from the commissioners?
If you would like to sign it, I can draft it and have you.
It's not a problem. Any feedback from my friends here? Very good. Okay, sounds good.
Put it together.
I would love to sign that one
Oh
if
my
you
goodness.
are.
Sorry, Mark. Maybe we'll let you sign under my name. Just kidding. Yes, go ahead. Yep.
Yes, Haley, you just call me. I will stop what I'm doing and I don't care if I'm 5 hours late. I'll be there to sign.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Mr. Rusted. All right, Mr. Ford.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Next item is asking the board to approve a new lease between Grand Forks County and Land of Hope. This is for the WIC office to maintain their space for the next 2 years. So it's a 2-year lease with 3 one-year options. Land of Hope has been great to work with. As you all know, in last week, at some point, and Ms. Stanislawski knows this, I'd like to at some point bring the WIC over to the county office, but that those dominoes haven't fallen into place yet. So year one, you're looking at $7.17 a square foot, monthly payment in year one of $1,777. Year two, it goes up $1,152.67 or $7.67 a square foot. When you include the CAM, the total payment is $1,578.50 in year one, and year two is $1,653.67 a month. Just a reminder that while WIC is a county office and service, it is 100% funded through the federal government through the USDA office. So I'm asking for board approval and chair signature on the lease.
I'll move approval to with chair signature. That's a very reasonable rate.
Okay.
But before I second it, Tom, can you explain what dominoes would have to happen in this prop? Can you just go through that a little bit?
Yes, I can, Commissioner Hodney, happy to. So there's some tenants that I'm talking with right now where essentially I would need to move them into other areas. One tenant was already planning to give up some space. I won't get into the specifics. I'll give you specifics offline. So I need to move some of our tenants into a different area, and then I am going to have to look at shuffling some departments around in order to bring the WIC office over here, because there's 6 FTEs or 7 FTEs. It's a client-facing service as well. So those are.
Does the term of this lease push that down the road too far, or just, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
No, sir. In my opinion, it does not. It grants enough time because one of the tenants is state, and so it needs to line up with the next legislative session. So I actually, it was my request of Land of Hope that it be 2 years, and they were fine to accommodate that. And I didn't want to go any longer for that reason.
I second.
Well, and also just for clarification, in the lease, there's a clause in there that we can leave. I believe it's 30 days notice if we are going to shift to put them over here. So that's, I can't remember what page it's on, but it's in there.
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. We refer to a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously. Was that all you had for the lease extension, Mr. Ford? Very good. Sheriff Schneider, it's finally your turn. Waited so patiently.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. It might be irrelevant, but I did want to bring to your attention, I guess you can watch on the replay, but Commissioner Ross' motion was to not accept Commissioner Bierke's proposal And so he voted yes to not accept it, and you guys voted no. So technically, it could still be motion to be put on the ballot. It was a double negative.
It was a negative motion. That's what we had talked
So
about.
you voted yes
Yeah.
to not put it on there.
No.
And you voted no to not approve your motion to not put it on there. That was your motion, but you voted yes. Or you voted no to not approve it. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it doesn't matter because that means that now he could make a motion to put it on there if he wanted. You guys didn't vote to not put it on there. You voted to not put it on there. It was a double negative. So moving forward with my agenda item. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I have one item on the agenda. As you're all aware that we did move forward with a food services contract request for proposal for jail food and dining services. Looking for a little bit more competitive bidding, see if we can get a better price, and we did. With the advertisement, I believe we put it out we had at least 5 or 6 reach out. We only received 2 proposals. One was our existing provider, and one was an additional one out of South Dakota. Unfortunately, the proposal from South Dakota didn't meet the mandatory requirements of somebody to provide the services. The biggest box that they did not check, there was a mandatory requirement. They must be in business for 5 years as an entity providing food service to a correctional facility. They have several years of providing that service, but their corporation is all under different entities. So cumulatively, Correct Choice is who it was. They've only been in existence for 2 years as an entity. They didn't have the 5 years. It was a very enticing proposal. I would presume that when we open it up again in 3 years, they'll have that 5-year mark and they'll be applying again. I'd be very entertained in moving forward with them. There was a couple other things that didn't meet the qualifications. Our current provider, Summit Food Services, did meet all the requirements. And so I'd request a motion to award Summit Food Services the food service contract for the Grand Forks County Correctional Center and the Youth Assessment Center.
Chair, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Rustin.
So the 5-year requirement, Sheriff, is that something that is self-imposed, or is that like a century code thing? Because to me,
that was,
if we got a better number, then we should unself-impose it.
Yes, Commissioner Rusty, members of the commission, on our food service proposal, that was one of the mandatory requirements set forth by the county and the sheriff's office. One of them.
Okay. Very good.
Is it worth taking another look at it? And
well,
I think at this time, if that was the only factor, we might consider it. There was a couple other things that they didn't have that were requested. For example, I requested a list of all accreditations and accredited facilities. They had none, where the other entity, Summit, has multiple. And then there was one condition in the contract regarding who is to provide the cleaning supplies for all cleaning in the kitchen. And it is the vendor is supposed to be providing all of that for the cleaning. And Correct Choice stated that they would want us to provide all of that. So that would be another significant cost to the county.
any other comments or questions for the sheriff before we make a motion?
How did bids come in compared to current contract?
So our current provider came in at a price less than they are currently providing.
Move to approve.
We have a motion.
Second.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is passed unanimously.
Thank you. I'm hopeful to have a contract for you to sign in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
I just want to mention the sheriff, I had not in a bad way, had an interaction with the deputy. Outstanding job. Outstanding job on an issue. has dealing with some constituents and issues. So I just want to, he was Deputy Wright, if I remember the name.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking
We
about?
do have one of those. Yep.
Yeah. Great job. And so I just want to pass that along that went above and beyond, and is my kind of guy. Get the shovel, let's dig, let's go. So I just want to publicly say that.
I'll pass that on if it has anything to do with rats. I'm well aware.
You know what I'm talking.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. West.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. One tidbit for the board to consider. So, going with the theme of the time of year, we were working on budget, and our motor grader leases are due to expire. Their 5-year term due to expire the fall of 27. So I asked our current vendor, RDO, to supply a budget number. And the number they came back with for a new lease of the same machine was $1.2 million per year for all the machines. Our current lease is $430,000. So that's 2.8 times higher than our current lease. That's a problem. So I just want to bring that to the board's attention and just make you aware of that. And we're looking at options. I can't stand here and tell you that that's going to be a good option and tell you that's what we should do. So if you ask me today what we should do, I think we should buy the lease out on our current machines and run them longer. We can buy the current lease out at 1.7 million for all the machines, all 12. That means we got to come up with 1.7 million somehow. Or, I hate to say it, Mr. Bierke, or get a loan, right, and pay it back that way. But somehow do that. And I don't know where it's going to go. The challenge with buying them out, then we don't have a warranty, or we have to buy an extended warranty. You end up with increased, well, the longer you own a machine, the higher the maintenance costs typically go. And if the board remembers, we went down a mechanic because we didn't think we needed it. And then if we go back into motor graders owning them without a warranty, it's pretty reasonable to assume our work on maintenance is going to go up. So I don't know how this is all going to work. Good news is we have some time to work on it. In our budget that was submitted, well, you didn't submit it till Monday morning, but we did take a stab. We guessed at a number. We did increase that line item, but we'll see where this goes. And if you have any bright ideas, I'm all ears. So,
Madam Chair, Mr. West and I talked about this, and just once again to my thing about the $16 million in reserves that we really don't have. This is just another example of it. We're gonna have to stop leasing and go to buying, and we're gonna have to get some money for capital expenditure to buy all these leases, because if we replace them every 6 years at the current price, 2 a year, it's going to be way cheaper than leasing them. 6 figures cheaper. So we're going to talk to him. He's going to look at it. We're going to bring it back. But as far as the budget, even for next year, it's just another example of that money. It's there, but it's not really there. And so we're going to have to come up with a plan. We can't spend $1.2 million a year leasing those vehicles. That's just financially is not a wise move.
That's hard.
If
It'd
you
be really
compare it
hard.
to buying them out. So I asked him to talk about Stein, and it'll come through the budget. But that's why I want to give you all a heads up on this, that it's almost going to triple. And we can't stop plowing. Got to grade?
Oh boy.
Gravel? Got to plow snow. Or you might want to get an unlisted phone number. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you be able to make like just a summary spreadsheet of what of those particular assets and maybe Are they all the same age, same model, or are they just maybe year, model, hours, buyout value or whatever, just so we know how they line up and.
Yep, all of our motor graders are all 12 of them are 2022 models, 772 GPs. They all have roughly 4,000, 4,500 hours on them right now. So a year and a half from now, they'll have 5,000, 5,500 somewhere in there. I'll say 5,000 to 6,000. Don't know how it goes. So there's life in the machine left. So if we bought them and ran them longer, we can definitely do that for a few years. The question is how long? How long do we do that? And then how would we transition into new machines? How long do we keep them? How do we do that? How do we somehow swap 12 machines out? Yeah. What I was told when I started here at county 12 years ago is we used to own machines and we used to have 13 of them. Somehow they cut it down to 12. They all got to a point where they were really old, wore out, and they couldn't afford to buy 13 more. So they started leasing. And when interest rates were really low, it made sense and it was good. But now things are getting more expensive and rates are up. So we're seeing that effect. So
And you said you expect the buyout to be how much for all of them?
our contract is 1,697,000, something like that. 1.7 million.
Thank you.
Yes. That's a great question. I'm going to speculate somewhere 10,000 hours, somewhere in there, 9, 10. Yeah. It's interesting. Our motor graders are a piece of equipment that we use year round. We blade gravel in the summer, we plow snow in the winter. They're an integral part of what our department does. We have 12 full-time guys. That's all they do. Is run the machines. And they're the only machines that we lease. Our trucks, pickups, we own them because we keep them longer. We just don't put that as many hours on them, so it makes sense to, but historically made sense to buy them. I need to do more research on that as far as how far we do run them. I mean, it's reasonable to assume that the longer we have them, the more hours they get, your maintenance is going to go up. But what's that break point? It's a great question.
Excellent. Like you had said, I mean, we can't probably buy all dozen of them right now, but stagger that out. But how long can we do that for? Like, what does that look like? Is it a 5-year plan, 6-year plan, whatever? But then, like you said, so.
Most counties that do this, well, of what I know of, not that I know every county, but every county has motor graders. Most of them own them and they get into a rotation where they'll buy 1 or 2 every year or every couple of years. And they just get into a rotation of that sort.
Yeah.
I think that'd be reasonable for us to do, is to buy a few machines, couple machines every year and have that as an expense item.
Yeah.
Just like a lease.
Like to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
Right. Very good.
So fun stuff. Now on to the good news. So, or I hope it's good
Before we'll just clarify that a little bit more. So when we get into budget cycle, this will kind of be a key element on this, because not only will we have this potential buyout to plan through, but if we're gonna get a drop-off plan on these assets that we're rolling off, if it's 1 or 2 a year or whatever you propose, I mean, if you could maybe just come up with a target hours that you know, we're gonna run these to 12,000 hours, and this would be the logical time based on how many hours we're putting on a year, so that we know when that would maybe hit, when we would be looking at a full asset purchase or two. Because it probably wouldn't be 27. We'd have to just get out of the lease, and then we'd want to start a rotation though fairly quickly though. So that could be 27, that could be 28, but maybe if you got something to get to Tom, and then we would have it at that budget meeting.
I can bring something next meeting, some preliminary numbers, or or, yeah, we'll be working on it. Yep. Okay, back to the agenda. First item, or the first two items we have here is, we generically call them our flex fund bridges. We have a bridge in Maricus and a bridge in Hegton that were bid on May 7th. The bids came in reasonably. There was no curveballs thrown. All the bonds were right. Midwest Contracting was the low bid of $2,222,890.50 for both structures. My request to the board would be to approve that bid contingent on concurrence from the DOT. However, I got concurrence from the DOT on Friday that they're good with it and they are ready to move forward with the project. And I would ask for board's approval on the bid of the two flex fund bridges.
All right.
Second.
We have a first and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. The next item is the same project. It's with the agreement with the DOT for the project. Now, I did fail in one thing. I did not send this to Ms. Wamstead to review, and usually I do that. That's my fault. For what it's worth, I did look at it and thought it was okay. The maybe silver lining in this matter is that the project is 100% paid by the grant. The construction and construction engineering is 100% paid by the grant. But if it's okay, I would ask for board's approval and chair and auditor signature on the contract. If we want to.
Approval contingent upon the state's attorney review.
Second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
I just wanted to clarify, are you referring to what's in the packet?
Yes.
Yes, I did review that and I had no concerns. So
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is again passed unanimously.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wamstead. The next item for consideration deals with the Flex Fund program as well too. So back in, I think, February, excuse me, Grand Forks County, we did receive 3 grants for Flex Fund projects. They're technically Prairie Dog funded, but they're through the Flex Fund program. The difference between Flex Fund and Prairie Dog is that the money's not available yet. The Prairie Dog program, they have to wait for the oil tax revenue to come in, oil extraction tax revenue to come in, and then it would be available. It is anticipated that the money would come into the system sometime this winter. Projections are anywhere between November and February of this coming winter. My request to the board is, do we want to take a gamble and do some of the preliminary field data collection now or wait? If we did it now and the money did not come through, somehow the state didn't collect the oil extraction tax, the county would be out that. So it's a risk on our part. And it would delay the project a year. So if we wait the normal process, we'd say we get notification in this winter, we would do our field data collection, topographic survey, wetland delineation, archaeological review, etc. We would do that the summer of 27, probably construct in 28. If we roll the dice and the county would front that money now and then get reimbursed from the state later, we could do it in 26. Now, the 2 projects on County 5 and County 17, our grant is a 20% local match. So the county does have some money into it, of which we are appropriately budgeted for and proposed to be budgeted for in 27 as well too. The Manville Avenue one is 100% grant funded. And I did get notification, there's an email in the packet from the state of North Dakota that we could get reimbursed back for that work if we chose to take that gamble now. So
What kind of money are you talking for this preliminary engineering work?
At a minimum, I'm going to say on all the projects or just,
Well, I mean, say we're gonna pick one or two that we want to have quote unquote shovel ready in case the dollars come in this year, right? And that way we could move on it. So if you picked your, whatever you think that would make sense to have ready, you know, what would guesstimate be for costs that we would incur on those?
I'll spitball 150,000 total.
And then would you kind of anticipate that those would be, what amount of those funds could be reimbursed or will ultimately be reimbursed?
Of the 3 projects, our local match is the 20% is estimated to be $375,397. Now that would just be the County 5 and County 17 project. Now the Manville Avenue is 0. Yeah. The other curveball I would say is that the 17 project is tied with the City of Thompson grant, and the City of Thompson they're plowing forward, really plowing forward, I'm told. So,
and all of these ones that you're looking at, they're on our approved identified capital or, project list, I should say, right? That we already know we're going to be chasing them either this year or next year, no matter what.
well, we submitted the projects for a grant and the grant got approved. We'd have to break it down one by one. I would say, in my opinion, the County 5 project, the flood protection one, it'd be nice to do regardless. Maybe we could break it up into smaller pieces. The one in Thompson, maybe we'd want to do it as well too. I don't know. And the Manville Avenue is kind of a different ball of wax, where it's not a county road, but will be, I think is the thing to say. The Manville Avenue project, the intention is once we get the grant, the DOT would transfer the right of way to the county, and the county has intentions of and verbal commitments from the city and the township to each take 1/3 ownership. And that's how it would be maintained into the future.
I mean, I think we should have some shovel-ready projects with some preliminary work done because this is obviously a weird year with how the state's been planning on revenue and likely could be some last-minute funds coming out on those fronts to us. So I think that's a good heads-up way to look at it. I almost feel like it'd be nice if you had your priorities list on those and almost said that whichever ones you think should be presented to us and just say, I think we should have these just because they're most likely or something or easiest, or they're in sync with the other entities that are looking at it best, instead of maybe just approving to go forward with all of them. But I don't know.
Well, to be in harmony with the City of Thompson, since they are moving forward. Oh, I don't know. Be nice to get Manville Avenue done too. I would probably say County 5 would be our 3rd or the lowest level. I mean, it could wait. The other ones are
Manville Avenue, most likely, and that it stays in sync with the other with everybody else, and then we could possibly have it truly shovel ready then. And
if you ask me right now, I would probably put Thompson as the #1 priority because you have another government entity. You have the City of Thompson that they're putting money into it and they're planning.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like at a minimum we should probably do that one then and have it ready.
Yeah.
I actually think the money will be there for you, your flex fund, because they haven't released the March tax revenues yet from the oil fields, and the Strait of Hormuz will stay closed. So tax revenues will be up. And so I think the money will be there. I think it's worth the gamble.
I just want to, if they get, the money doesn't, we have till 30 June of 2027 to get the money,
Correct.
correct? So
Correct.
if it's projected to fill up in January, we have a 6-month cushion. Also, we have to pay 20% on 2 of it anyway.
Correct.
I'm not concerned for any 3 of them. And also, if we build them a year earlier, they're going to be cheaper if we waited another year. So, and whatever data we collect, if who knows what happens, these roads at some point, the Manville's 50 years been neglected, and we have, the County 5 is a flood project, and Thompson, all 3 of these are going to be done. Even if something happened, the data we collected would still be good, and we'd have it for when it came to. So I'm not afraid of going forward. So I'm going to make a motion that we proceed with the appropriate studies, my beloved long-ear bats, cattails, and whatever else is out there, and go ahead with all 3 of these studies and have the data ready so that we can build next year.
Second.
So first and a second, is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Okay. Thank you. The next question would be to do the work. We would need to procure an engineering company to do that type of work. The commission board has discretion on how they want to do that procurement process. The board can pick. We can go through an RFP process.
I have a motion ready. I want Widsith for CR5, CPS for County Road 17. Widsith has already been involved in County Road 5. They're the engineer of record on other issues in that area. CPS is the engineer that Thompson is using, correct?
Correct.
For county roads. So we're just working together.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Manville, what would be your recommendation?
It could really be anybody. I guess I leaned on KLJ to spread it
Okay,
around.
KLJ, there, let's split the pot. KLJ for Manville. So I'll move those 3 as the engineering for those 3 projects. Is that, did I phrase that correctly?
Second.
That would be great.
And so first and a second, is there any other motion, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
Thank you. My last item for consideration is the procurement of a crack seal machine. This is something that our department, well, used to do decades ago, but hasn't done for many decades. Sealing cracks on asphalt roads. And this year we did budget, I believe it's 200,000 with the intent of buying a crack seal machine and a pothole machine. However, that's a big, after more consideration, we want to back off on the pothole machine and still just use our bag mix for now. But the last month we've been renting a Marathon machine, a KER 230 BRE model. It's been going good. We've crack sealed County 3 south of Amaretto, and there's one of the road segment will probably get done in the next couple of weeks. We could, my question is, number one, would it be okay if we got this machine? We believe it's an integral asset of what every highway department should be doing, is sealing cracks and doing maintenance. 2, how do we go about procuring one if we do get one?
Madam, I'm ready. If we buy the price, this is 73,500.
Correct.
If we buy it, if we make the motion to buy it tonight, it'll be with less than 30 days from the rent. So they will, the 11,400 we owe on rent, we won't have to pay. So in reality, we'd be getting this for 62,100
Well, yeah.
because we won't have to pay the rent. So we're saving 11,400. Okay. You like the machine? Works well?
Yes.
From the report, it says it does some things other machines don't do.
Correct.
So, and we need to seal the cracks on the road. So I will make a motion to purchase this machine.
Second.
There is a first and a second. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed unanimously.
That is all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back to Mr. Ford.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. A few updates for the board. Tyler Tech upgrade project is moving along. If you recall, there was three aspects to that: getting our servers and our files, everything drastically updated, moved to the cloud. That's done. Second phase is a human resources portal that's going live very, very soon, if it already hasn't. I've got to just very quickly point out to Ms. Morstead, Ms. Halverson, and Thiel, I have sat through some of these day-long trainings and presentations, just some of them. They've sat through them all. This has been a lot of work, fine-tuning, coming up with different decisions, making decisions on the fly. But this HR portal, I think, employees are really going to enjoy this. Third phase we're entering into, which is time and attendance. So just a quick reminder for the board, myself and Ms. Morstead will have some policy questions and policy decisions to ask of the board during the June 16th meeting. But if you recall, when the board opted to proceed with this project last year in June, some of the questions that I posed to the board that the board would need to know what they're getting into moving forward was, one, to stop paying current. So right now our pay frequency, we don't have a leg, so we pay current. We'd have to stop doing that. We'd need to build in a pay leg. And then the third would be, currently we pay non-exempt on a salary basis. Non-exempt would go to hourly. So we'll be coming, I think those will need to be actual motions and policy decision when we come, but the board, I've essentially committed to those three things last year when you greenlit this project. There is a pay frequency question right now, because if we're going to make a change to pay frequency, now is the opportune time. There's some debate between sticking with twice a month or paying every 2 weeks. This decision, along with the pay leg, affects 360 plus employees. So as you can imagine, there's about 360 opinions on how to move forward with this, but we'll move forward, or we'll bring different options, pros and cons, and it's really going to be a policy decision for the board. But essentially, I'm just briefing the board or reminding the board of those three other things about stop paying current, build a leg. Because if the board were to decide not to do those things, we will have essentially bought a Cadillac Escalade to go 5 blocks every day from work to home, and we could have just used a Ford Taurus, if that makes sense. I know, there's nothing wrong with it. Just so we'll come on at the next meeting, because we're ready now and we have to answer those decisions for Tyler to move forward. And we'll discuss that in the budget meeting tomorrow. But this just a heads up. The next item, Madam Chair, Commissioners, Madam Chair is aware, July 7th at 2:30 is a budget meeting. And that budget meeting is where you're going to review department budget requests. And the board has asked that the department heads come and present the budget and answer questions. The Lieutenant Governor's office reached out to Administrator Spain, to Ms. Spain, and has requested a tour of the YAC and a briefing on what services the YAC provides. I'm not drawing any parallels or connecting dots, but this is on the heels of the meetings we've been having with our local legislators about some potential partnerships. The fact that the Lieutenant Governor's office has reached out, I think I've talked with the chair, we agree. So I'm going to ask the board that we reschedule that 2:30 budget meeting, because the time frame that works for Lieutenant Governor is from 2:30 to 4. And so there's even a potential that, and Commissioner Ross, Chair Hagan, myself, Ms. Wamstead, I think it's pertinent that we're there for this meeting. So we might not be back in time for the start of the county commission meeting either, just depending on how long the meeting takes. But one suggestion might be rescheduling that July 7th budget meeting, moving it up from 2:30 to 9:30 in the morning, if that works for the board. Because I don't want to get us out of cycle for budget meetings, and that's the department budget meeting, and that's critical.
And we would have the regular meeting at 4? Is that a yeah, that'd be a regular meeting. Are we going to do that?
I defer to the Madam Chair. How you want to do that? They could start without us, or
Yeah,
delay it?
Mr. Rusted could chair the meeting to open it up. We would just be,
Hey, Mr. Rusted, Mr. Honey, myself?
you guys would, great.
We'll let you know what happened.
I'll sign on. Don't worry. No. Mr. Rusted would just,
Yeah, I mean, we could delay it if
can we,
to 4.
I mean, if it's a regular
Well,
schedule,
if we notice it, can't we notice it?
that's
Or
fine.
is that a problem, Ms. Malmsted?
I think if you moved your meeting to another date, it would be considered a special meeting. So your ability to amend the agenda and discuss things off agenda is much more limited.
I mean, could we just delay the start time? Is that a
Could we start it at,
4:30 or
correct, 4:30 would be,
versus 4 because of their conflict?
I think it would still be considered a special meeting.
I mean, I can pop some headphones in and sign up.
Okay, okay.
4 o'clock and be here in person.
Just some more government rules, making it simpler.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the fourth, excuse me, the
9:30 on,
9:30 to 11:30 timeframe, does that work for everybody? Yeah,
It does. And it's very important you guys manage. that
absolutely.
meeting, so
Yeah,
for that.
9:30, 11:30, July 7th.
correct. Mr. Oh, boy. We should maybe mute that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, probably. Anyway, we'll talk to Mr. Rusta and let him know that we're going to do a budget meeting at 9:30 in the morning. And we'll be a little bit late and he'll be chairing. the
Yeah,
meeting.
no, that's fine. I can chair that meeting.
Okay, sounds good. All right.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. Yeah, that's a great opportunity for us in the YAC. Lastly, just some housekeeping for the upcoming budget. In addition to the request by the commissioners for Commissioner Bierke starting the budget meeting with new value, what's the increase from last year as compared to what proposed increases we'll look at? How much is new growth? What's the amount we're getting from the beacon being changed from a TIF to a pilot, and does that count against the cap? Just with the question over with Mr. West and the leasing of his equipment, I think so with the June 30th, we'll open with that information the board has requested. I know the board is looking at something different with what is the mill levy impact per department. We can get that as well. But the 30th, just as a reminder, that one you'll specifically be focusing and discussing the special mill levies. So I've asked that those partners, contracted services and mill levies attend, because I know the board will have questions. Then looking at the July 7th, again, that'll focus on the department requests. And then the July 14th will be compensation and benefits. And I know that Ms. Thiel's already discussed with the insurance center, just some of the questions Commissioner Bierke you posed as well. So we'll have those answers at that meeting. But is there, as far as there was a request by Commissioner Hodney a while ago that before the budget meetings start, that staff, myself, Ms. Morstead, come with kind of a, here's the total request, here's the total estimated revenue, without really, just as a broad discussion. Budget requests are still trickling in to Ms. Holeen in the office. So what I'm saying is I don't think we'll have that ready for the July 16th meeting. So if we can also provide that as the intro or the beginning of the June 30th, that would be appreciated.
Could you send out another email with all the topics,
sir.
provide meeting times and all that?
I will
So
do
we all have that on our schedule.
Absolutely.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Yep.
And also on you mentioned the beacon, they went to a Renaissance zone for 8 years. I'm assuming we have nothing to say about that. Well, we might have something to say. Let me rephrase that for the court. Well, we have nothing we can do about that, correct?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, that's all I have.
Mr. Ford, which meeting I know we had talked about just having our capital outlay plan approved, whatever, however many year.
Yes, sir.
But just to specifically to look at 2027 and probably 2028, just so we know what those are and what we have to plan for. Will that be kind of at our fingertips right away in those meetings, or?
Yes, Madam Chair, Commissioner Hodney. Yeah, we'll provide that discussion during the department budgets as well.
Thank you.
I'd like to see us go 6 years out.
Yes.
And I believe Mr. Grzeszewski, yeah, I'll follow up with him, but
Okay.
We'll look at
I think
that.
he normally does, but
Yep.
I want to make sure everyone sees the full 6 years out.
Yes, sir.
All the
And
different-
adding on to that, Commissioner Hodney, that topic, you'll recall I would like the commission to also discuss the future of the old jail. It's imperative that the board make a decision at some point on what to do with that facility. We're still heating it and keeping the lights on. So just a reminder, we'll include that as a topic of discussion.
All right. Ms. Wamstead, do you have anything for us tonight?
I have nothing for the board other than if you want to clarify that prior motion on
Good call.
Mr. Bierke's concept.
All right.
I would agree. I think if Mr. Rost would pull his motion, the second would pull it, that would end it, and then I'll make a motion for what I wanted, and then the noes can vote no, and then, but we should technically have it correct, yes.
You know, whoever wants.
So, well, I think technically he would have to ask to rescind his motion, and the second would have to pull the second.
You know,
Or can I just do it? What do you want?
Commissioner Bierke, I think maybe a simpler method would just be to pose a new motion.
Okay.
And have that pass, and that would essentially override the prior.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion for what I want, and then you vote, so it's simpler, because yeah, we don't want to double negatives. You don't like make negative motions, so I'll move to put the ambulance and senior center mill levies, I'll keep it shorter since it's gonna fail, up for a vote in the November election. That's my motion.
All right.
I will second.
Okay. Any other discussion? No. Mr. Bierke,
Yes.
Mr. Hodney, Mr. Rost,
No.
Mr. Rusted,
No.
and I am also a no. So motion is failed 3-2.
Thanks for reminding, Sheriff.
Good catch, crowd. All right, we move on to our committee reports. Mr.
Okay, all I have is the MPO, it's an east side thing, but it does affect our county. The Point Bridge, you probably know this already, but the Point Bridge project is pushed back to 2027, and that did go into the Minnesota East Grand Forks tip. So that's going to be delayed 1 year because of, they couldn't get what they needed. It's 6 months behind in ordering, so that's delayed. And then the airport roundabout issue, it's not on the tip yet. And the DOT, which I've reminded regularly, he stated that they're behind a little bit. It should come in June or July. So as soon as I have an update, because I told him that, I mentioned Mr. Orrin in the letter and whatnot, to have it 2026 to do this preliminaries, 2027 to fund and design and bid, and 2028 to build. He said that should come out probably from the state in June or July. So I will let you know when that happens in July or August. That's all I had.
Nothing to report on?
Got base enhancement meeting at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And got a yak meeting on Friday. That's it.
Mr. Rusted, do you have anything to provide for the board? Sounds
I
like
have
he doesn't.
nothing to report.
Okay, sounds good. I don't have anything additional to add to the board than we've already discussed. I think we have any unfinished business or correspondence, correct? I didn't see anything in the packet, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Rusted will take care of that.
Move adjourned.
Second.
Okay,